children's ministry is so wonderful here in this church. They help so many people, and they sent one to me every week to help me along my journey of grief, and what a blessing. And I just thank the good Lord for this church and for the church people that has been here for me when I needed them.
This story is about my mom. My mother is 79 years old and unfortunately was recently diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer. The day that she was supposed to get her treatment schedule, whether it was going to be radiation or chemotherapy or a combination of the two, she felt very ill. And she had to be rushed to Morton Plant Hospital, where she was diagnosed with pneumonia. This church sprung into action. There was a daily presence at the hospital with my mom, starting with Marilyn King, the Congregational Care Coordinator, when she delivered the prayer shawl. And being that my mom has been knitting for about 50 years, she was absolutely overwhelmed by the gesture, knowing how time-consuming knitting can be, and the thought behind being literally wrapped with prayer. She was very touched and very moved, and every day after that, seemingly every day, there was a presence, whether it was Reverend Kathy stopping and praying with my mom, or Pastor Dave, or Stephen Minister. It was an overwhelming show of love and support for someone who's not even a member of this church. I am thoroughly convinced that this overwhelming love and support and through prayer helped my mother get through this very difficult time, and my family will never forget it.
In September of last year, I underwent a hip replacement surgery, and Marilyn scheduled meals for me for the first 4 or 5 days since I live alone and was off my feet. I was doing fine until I blew the hip out in December, and I was confined to home in a leg brace. I had to sit in a particular chair and was not allowed to do for myself. I told Marilyn I didn't want more meals brought in. I felt like I had received all the help I deserved, but God didn't agree with that. I cannot remember a day that someone didn't come in with either I made too much of this, or here's a soup, I wanted you to try the recipe, it's new. I even had one family here in the church get up from the Christmas dinner table, leave their family to bring me a Christmas dinner. And that just supports Timothy 3:15, which says the church is the family of God, and it's my family here at PHUMC.
When my husband was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, having my daughter and her family and my church family just minutes away was priceless. As Matt, my son-in-law, said, I needed a village. And God provided that village by reigniting old friendships, by bringing new friends into my life, and through Bible study. And when my husband passed, I also had a wonderful Stephen Minister. Through all of that, I was able to strengthen my faith and get that peace that goes beyond all understanding that can only happen through God when we have those storms in our lives. One of the friendships that was reignited was Marilyn. She has a way of just stretching me in so many ways. And one of the ways she stretched me was to become a Stephen Minister, which I dearly love, and it's a great way to say thank you.
I hate to argue with Robin McFerrin because she is the best, but I do want to say that she does not have the best job here at the church. I do. I just love what I do. And what do? I pray for people every single day. I send cards to people that are hurting or in the hospital, or a thank you for what they've done for the church. We go out into the community as Stephen Ministers and we pray over people. We also have a prayer shawl ministry that they make little prayer squares and big shawls, and they pray over every stitch so that when you get it, there is absolutely no magic in it, but there is power because they have been prayed over. We do volunteer work a lot, and I depend on you for that because we have to take food into people that have just got out of the hospital, or we drive them back and forth to the doctor, or sometimes they just need someone to come in and help them a little bit with the cleaning because they can't do it. I can't do all of that, but I get help from all of you, and I really appreciate the fact that our church is so willing to step in whenever I ask. Thank you for being who you are and helping us to be the hands and feet of Christ. Is there any way you can fix this so that you don't see my double chin? Well, this was almost as much fun as childbirth. It's
all I've got to say. That's all, folks.